Today we are going to explore a truly terrifying topic, Nostradamus prophecies for 2024. Did you know that this enigmatic 15th century prophet predicted shocking events like COVID-19, the death of Queen Elizabeth, the attack on Donald Trump, and the war between Ukraine and Russia? What other unsettling visions does Nostradamus have for this year? In this video, we will analyze these prophecies in detail and their possible impact on the world today. What else could happen according to his predictions? How could these events change our lives? Stay with us until the end to discover these surprising revelations and understand what they mean for our future. I assure you, you won't want to miss a second of this fascinating journey. Prophecy 1. Imminent natural disasters. One of the most terrifying aspects of Nostradamus's prophecies for 2024 is the prediction of devastating natural disasters, specifically earthquakes and tsunamis. Nostradamus, the famous 15th century astrologer and seer, wrote numerous quatrains that have been interpreted as warnings about future natural cataclysms. In his writings, there are mentions of earth tremors and giant waves that would wipe out coastal communities, causing mass destruction and death. The question is, could these predictions come true in 2024? Nostradamus describes in his quatrains images of the earth shaking violently and the sea rising to flood the lands. These descriptions have been interpreted as references to earthquakes and tsunamis, events capable of causing immense damage and altering the course of human history. But what does current science say about the possibility of facing such disasters next year? To better understand the likelihood of these events, we must look at the scientific evidence and current correlations. In recent years, seismologists have observed an increase in seismic activity in various parts of the world. Seismically active areas, such as the Pacific Ring of Fire, which spans countries like Japan, Indonesia, Chile, and the west coast of the United States, have recorded significant earthquakes more frequently. This belt of intense geological activity is known for its earthquakes and volcanic eruptions, making it a place where a major earthquake could easily trigger a tsunami. One of the most concerning areas is the San Andreas Fault in California. Scientists have warned for years that this fault is ready to break, which could result in a massive earthquake in the region. An earthquake along the San Andreas Fault would not only cause destruction in nearby cities, but could also trigger a tsunami along the Pacific coast, affecting not only California, but other areas in the Ring of Fire. Besides the San Andreas Fault, another point of interest is the Cascadia subduction zone, which stretches from Vancouver Island in Canada to northern California. This region is capable of generating mega earthquakes, those exceeding a magnitude of 9 on the Richter scale. Historically, this zone has produced catastrophic earthquakes, and experts believe it is overdue for another major event. A quake of this magnitude in this region could generate a devastating tsunami that would affect the entire west coast of North America. In Southeast Asia, the region of Sumatra is another area of high seismic activity. The 2004 Sumatra-Andaman earthquake, which reached a magnitude of 9.1 to 9.3, generated a tsunami that killed more than 230,000 people in 14 countries. This catastrophic event serves as a reminder of the destructive power of underwater earthquakes and tsunamis. Scientists are closely monitoring this region, as the buildup of tectonic tension suggests that another major earthquake could occur in the near future. Climate change also plays a major role in the frequency and intensity of natural disasters. Global warming is causing glaciers to melt and sea levels to rise, which could exacerbate the impact of tsunamis. Moreover, the climate is affecting storm patterns and increasing the likelihood of extreme weather events that can trigger underwater landslides and consequently tsunamis. In terms of preparedness, Many countries located in high-risk areas have implemented early warning systems and improved their infrastructure to withstand earthquakes and tsunamis. Japan, for example, has developed one of the most advanced early warning networks in the world, which can detect an earthquake seconds before it occurs and activate alarms to give people time to seek shelter. However, preparation can only mitigate the impact. It cannot prevent these disasters. In conclusion, although we cannot predict with certainty when and where the next major earthquakes and tsunamis will occur, scientific evidence suggests that seismic activity is increasing and several regions are at risk. Nostradamus's prophecies, though written centuries ago, echo the current concerns of the scientific community. Could 2024 be the year we face one of these catastrophic events? Only time will tell, but one thing is certain: we must be prepared for the unexpected. Prophecy 2. Conflicts and Wars. Nostradamus is known for his enigmatic quatrains, which have been interpreted as predictions of future catastrophic events. Among his most unsettling prophecies for 2024 are those that speak of large-scale armed conflicts. Nostradamus repeatedly mentions devastating wars, clashes between nations, and great powers that could change the course of humanity. These visions have led many to speculate about possible conflicts in our time. The question is, could these prophecies come true in the current geopolitical context? Nostradamus describes in his quatrains images of fierce wars, conflicts between kings, and battles that will shake the earth. These descriptions have led to interpretations suggesting possible confrontations between the great powers of the modern world. With the current tensions between countries and increasing instability in various regions, it's not hard to imagine how these prophecies could reflect our present and near future. To better understand the possibility of these predictions materializing, it's essential to examine the current geopolitical situation and potential points of conflict. One of the main sources of tension is the relationship between the United States and China. These two superpowers are involved in economic, technological, and military competition, which has escalated in recent years. The dispute over Taiwan is a critical point. China considers Taiwan a renegade province and has promised to reunify it by force if necessary. The United States, on the other hand, has shown support for Taiwan, increasing the possibility of a direct confrontation. Another point of conflict is the relationship between Russia and Ukraine, which has led to open war since 2022. Russia's annexation of Crimea in 2014 and its support for separatists in eastern Ukraine have exacerbated tensions in the region. Russia's military intervention in Ukraine and NATO's response have created an extremely volatile situation, with the risk of escalation involving other European countries and triggering a broader conflict. In the Middle East, tensions between Iran and Saudi Arabia, along with the intervention of the United States, Russia, and other powers in Syria and Yemen, have created a situation of constant conflict. Iran and Saudi Arabia, the two main regional rivals, are involved in a power struggle that affects several countries in the region. The possibility of a direct conflict between these two countries could further destabilize the Middle East, with global consequences. The Korean Peninsula is also a region of high tension. North Korea, under the leadership of Kim Jong-un, has continued developing its nuclear program and conducting missile tests, leading to international sanctions and increasing pressure from the United States and its allies. A miscalculation or provocation could trigger a conflict in this highly militarized region. Experts in international relations and global security have warned about the increasing likelihood of armed conflicts in the current world. The International Institute for Strategic Studies, IISS, has noted in its annual reports the rise in geopolitical tensions and the risk of military confrontations. According to the IISS, the combination of historical rivalries, competition for resources, and territorial disputes creates an environment conducive to armed conflicts. The Council on Foreign Relations, CFR, has also highlighted several hotspots where conflicts could erupt in its annual Global Conflict Risk Assessment report. The CFR specifically mentions tensions between the United States and China, Russia and Ukraine, and conflicts in the Middle East as the main risks to global peace and stability. The global intelligence community, including the CIA and other agencies, closely monitors these regions of potential conflict. Intelligence reports indicate that the arms race, growing nationalism, and aggressive policies of certain world leaders increase the risk of war. Moreover, social media and misinformation can exacerbate tensions, leading to misunderstandings and unintended escalations. In conclusion, Nostradamus's prophecy about armed conflicts finds an unsettling echo in the current geopolitical situation. Tensions between great powers, territorial disputes, and competition for resources create an environment where armed conflicts could become a reality in 2024. Although Nostradamus's prophecies were written centuries ago, their relevance in the modern context is surprising and concerning. Are we on the verge of a global conflict? Only time will tell, but vigilance and preparation are essential to mitigate these risks. Prophecy 3. Global Economic Crisis. Nostradamus is known for his cryptic and often unsettling prophecies. One of the most alarming for 2024 is the prediction of a global economic crisis. According to his writings, the world could face a financial collapse that would bring poverty, instability, and chaos. The question is, how likely is it that this prophecy will come true in the current economic context? Nostradamus's prophecy about a global economic crisis describes a scenario where financial markets collapse, currencies lose their value, and economies around the world crumble. In his quatrains, Nostradamus refers to the rich becoming poor and a great recession that will last many years. These images have been interpreted as warnings of a financial disaster that would affect all nations, regardless of their level of development. To better understand the possibility of this prophecy materializing, it is essential to compare the current economic situation with the scenarios described by Nostradamus. Today, the global economy faces several significant challenges that could trigger a crisis. Among them are persistent inflation, trade tensions, rising public and private debt, and political uncertainty. The COVID-19 pandemic had a devastating impact on economies around the world. Many nations implemented expansive fiscal and monetary policies to mitigate the economic effects of the pandemic, resulting in a significant increase in debt in many countries. Public debt levels are at historic highs, raising concerns about long-term fiscal sustainability. Moreover, inflation has re-emerged as a major problem after years of moderate inflation. Many countries are experiencing significant increases in the prices of goods and services. Inflation erodes consumers' purchasing power and can lead to interest rate hikes, which in turn can slow economic growth and increase the cost of debt. Trade tensions and geopolitical conflicts also pose a risk to global economic stability. Trade disputes between the United States and China, for example, have created uncertainty in markets and disrupted supply chains. The war in Ukraine has exacerbated these tensions, affecting energy and food prices and contributing to global inflation. Furthermore, the growing dependence of financial markets on technology and digitalization has introduced new risks. The volatility in cryptocurrency markets, for example, has shown how quickly financial fortunes can change. Cyber attacks and technological failures can also destabilize global financial systems. Given this situation, it is prudent to reduce debts, especially those with high interest rates, to avoid liquidity problems in the event of a recession. Staying informed, keeping up with economic news and market trends can help you make informed decisions. Subscribing to financial newsletters and following economic analysts can be helpful. Preparing for the worst while hoping for the best is crucial. While it's important to be optimistic, it's also essential to be prepared for negative scenarios. In conclusion, we cannot know with certainty whether Nostradamus's prophecy of a global economic crisis will come true in 2024. However, current economic challenges suggest that we must be prepared. Diversifying investments, reducing debts, staying informed, and preparing for different scenarios can help mitigate the effects of a potential crisis. In the end, preparation and adaptability are key to navigating any economic turbulence that may come. Prophecy 4. Global Pandemic. Nostradamus wrote about plagues of the great city and diseases that spread rapidly among people. These descriptions have been interpreted as warnings about epidemic outbreaks that could affect large populations. The recent experience with COVID-19 has shown how vulnerable we are to infectious diseases and how quickly they can transform our lives. In recent years, we have seen outbreaks of other infectious diseases such as Ebola, Zika, and avian flu. These outbreaks have underscored the need to always be vigilant and prepared to face new threats. Public health experts warn that climate change, urbanization, and globalization are increasing the risk of pandemics. Global warming, for example, is expanding the range of mosquitoes that transmit diseases like dengue and Zika, while urbanization and population density facilitate the rapid spread of diseases. Furthermore, scientists are concerned about the emergence of new pathogens or the mutation of existing ones, which could render current vaccines and treatments ineffective. Given this situation, what preventive and protective measures can we take to be better prepared for future pandemics? 1. Strengthening health systems. It is essential to invest in robust health systems that can respond quickly to disease outbreaks. This includes having enough hospitals, medical equipment, and trained personnel. The capacity to conduct tests and trace contacts is essential for containing the spread of diseases. 2. Research and development. It is crucial to continue investing in scientific research to develop new vaccines and treatments for emerging diseases. Governments, private companies, and international organizations must collaborate to accelerate the research and production of vaccines and drugs. 3. Public education. Educating the public about health risks is essential for preventing the spread of diseases. Campaigns can help people understand the importance of vaccines and hygiene measures like hand washing and wearing masks during outbreaks. 4. Improving surveillance and monitoring. Epidemiological surveillance systems must be improved to quickly detect new outbreaks. Technology and artificial intelligence can play a key role in monitoring public health data and predicting outbreaks. 5. International cooperation. Combating pandemics requires global cooperation. No country can face a pandemic alone, and international collaboration in sharing information, resources, and research is crucial for managing global health crises. In conclusion, Nostradamus's prophecy about pandemics and diseases reflects a real and persistent concern in our modern world. Recent outbreaks of infectious diseases and the possibility of future pandemics highlight the need to always be prepared and vigilant. By investing in health systems, scientific research, public education, and international cooperation, we can improve our ability to prevent and manage global health crises. Prophecy 5. Climate change and natural disasters. Nostradamus also wrote about natural disasters of unprecedented magnitude that would profoundly alter the natural balance and human life. In an era where climate change is a tangible reality, Nostradamus's words seem more relevant than ever. He wrote about great floods and fires from the sky that would devastate entire regions. These images evoke natural disasters such as hurricanes, wildfires, droughts, and intense storms. Modern interpretations of these prophecies suggest that Nostradamus was warning about the effects of climate change. Scientists agree that human activity is a determining factor in these phenomena. One of the clearest indicators of climate change is the increase in global temperatures. According to NASA and NOAA, the past few years have been some of the hottest on record, with 2020 tying with 2016 as the warmest year in modern history. This rise in temperature is related to the accumulation of greenhouse gases in the atmosphere, primarily carbon dioxide, CO2, and methane, CH4. The rising temperatures are causing the polar ice caps to melt and sea levels to rise, which increases the risk of coastal flooding and high tides. Hurricanes and tropical storms are also becoming more powerful due to the warming of the oceans, which provides more energy to these storms. In 2020, the Atlantic hurricane season was the most active on record, with a record number of named storms. Wildfires have increased in frequency and intensity in places like California, Australia, and the Amazon, exacerbated by high temperatures and dry conditions. Given this situation, what can we do to mitigate the impact of climate change and prepare for its inevitable consequences? Here are some key steps. 1. Reducing greenhouse gas emissions. One of the most effective ways to combat climate change is to reduce emissions of CO2 and other greenhouse gases. This can be achieved through the adoption of clean technologies in industry, transportation, and agriculture. 2. Protecting and restoring ecosystems. Forests, wetlands, and oceans act as carbon sinks, absorbing large amounts of CO2 from the atmosphere. Protecting these ecosystems, along with reforestation and restoration efforts, can help mitigate climate change. 3. Adaptation and resilience. Communities must prepare for the inevitable impacts of climate change. This includes building infrastructure that can withstand extreme weather events, improving water management systems, and developing early warning systems for disasters like hurricanes and floods. 4. International cooperation. Climate change is a global problem that requires a global response. Countries must work together to meet the goals of the Paris Agreement and other international commitments aimed at reducing emissions and adapting to climate impacts. In conclusion, Nostradamus' prophecy about extreme climate changes seems increasingly plausible as we face the reality of global warming and its consequences. Scientific evidence and growing concern about the future of our planet make it clear that we must act now to mitigate the impact of climate change and prepare for its inevitable consequences. Don't miss out on my next video. Global alert. What Edgar Cayce predicted is already happening, and everyone is in panic. Discover the shocking revelations and how they impact our world today. Click now to stay informed and be part of the conversation. Hit the link and see for yourself.